Black women over 40, if it's all on you, your plan must be clear. Today, we're getting practical because if you are a Black woman over 40, retirement planning can feel very overwhelming when it's all on your shoulders. I want to talk about how to build a retirement plan that makes sense for your real life. One income, one future, one intentional plan. Let's do it. Now, you know, I'm a single woman. And if you know, this is not just for single women, this is just for a woman in general. And this can just be for a person in general. But, you know, since we are a community of Black women over 40, we have to gear it towards us. But nevertheless, even if you are a wife, a partner, however that might look, you do plan together, but you definitely have to plan for yourself as well, because 9 times out of 10, somebody goes before the next does. And you always have to make sure that you're good. So you always have to have a plan. So you plan together to make sure each other is good. But if you don't have that, you plan for yourself. And here we are. Me as a Black woman over 40, I plan for myself. I make sure that my retirement plan looks good for me and the lifestyle that I want to live. So we have to first start with the current reality. What are some things that we definitely need to put at the forefront? Income, your expenses, so we can know what we got coming in and what we got going out. Savings, we need to know how much we got in the kitty. You know, are we going to go a little hard? Are we going to pull from it? What we going to do? We got to have a savings. We have to have, I hear some people say 3 months. Some people say 6 months. Some people say a year. I feel there should be that 6 month to 12 month, maybe 9 month to 12 month rule to have, because you just never know. I even feel that way for someone who is even in the workforce. So for myself, I go with the 9 month to 12 month rule, because you just never know what can actually happen. Your retirement accounts, brokerage, Roth IRA, HSA, things of those nature. Things, it is others too, but those are like the kind of like the ones at the forefront. Things that you would need to have, like your retirement accounts, your 401s, your pensions, things of that nature. Where's this money coming from? In addition, your lifestyle obligations. You know, what are some things that you need that you just know you can't get rid of? You know, when I think about obligations, I think about housing. You know, that's up there with the expenses. Some things are like non-negotiable. Are you going to need a car? Where are you going to be living? Can you hop on public transportation? Can you utilize the share rides, like the Ubers and things like that? What works best for you? You can build a really good retirement plan from avoidance. Like when I mean avoid, like avoid all the things that you do not want to happen. So you build a plan on avoidance. What do I want to avoid? What I don't want to be bothered with? What I don't want to catch me off guard later. So you know you want to make sure you have rent or mortgage. You got the light, you got electricity, you know, however that water, however that might look. Those things we have to make sure are taken care of. So you build your plan according to what you want taken care of. And being honest. Honesty is where the peace starts. Being honest with what you have going on. Now, some people might say, you know what? I don't want to stop living the life that I live right now. If I'm doing X, Y, and Z, driving this kind of car, doing this, doing that, I want to maintain that. And you know, then you know you want to maintain that, then you're going to have to make sure that your savings, your retirement plans, and your money on the side is golden, so you can remain that lifestyle. Because I tell you, when I went into Social Security to see how much I was going to bring, it didn't matter if I made under 6 figures, above 6 figures, 350,000, a half a million. Social Security ain't giving you that much. They're not giving you that much. I don't care. Because even if you put all this money in, when you do your tax returns and stuff, they give you that money back. They say you put too much in. Because they're not going to give it back to you. They're not. The calculator, I was able to put in a salary of $350,000. Then I put in for a $500,000. I'm not too sure which number I put in for, but I put in for it. And the most they got back was 5,000. You making that kind of money? So, in saying all of that, you have to do your planning according to your lifestyle. Because I know if I brought home a $500,000 a year and I get $5,000 a month, that's not enough. That's not the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to. It's not enough. Now, can you make it enough? Absolutely. Downsizing, doing this, doing that, absolutely. And that goes back to me saying, if you can sit back and live off of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, however many, you can do that right now in this current climate. You don't need to judge yourself when you're doing this plan. You need to assess your clarity on what you actually want. And I feel like I can't drill that back home hard enough because we always think we need more than what we have. Like I can even sit back and sit where I'm sitting at in this room. Do I need all what I have in this room to live? No, I do not. I do not. I have it because I want it, and I have it because I was able to afford it. So we'll sit back and use that same clarity when it comes down to retirement. And I'm going to glide right into this one. Know what you're planning for. Know what you're planning for. What type of lifestyle do you want? As I mentioned earlier, do you want to still maintain the lifestyle that you have now? Or are you willing to downsize, eliminate, take away? I know I am. I know I am. I'm going to raise my hand as high as I can. Because I don't need to live like this. And it made me even realize I don't need to live like this now. And I mentioned even in previous conversations that we've had, this next year or two, I'm going to start downsizing. I'm going to start eliminating several things in my life because I don't need all of this. I don't need it. And if you know that you're not going to have the type of money that you have now because you're going to not have that full-time job, you're going to start scaling back on a few things and preparing yourself and putting yourself in that mindset. Let's reel it back a little bit. Like I said, knowing what kind of lifestyle you want to live, knowing what your options are, and also knowing if you still want to even work. Knowing if you want to work a part-time job. Maybe you just don't want to work full-time anymore. There's always a thing called semi-retirement. You can semi-retire and still collect your pension and 401s and Social Security when you get to 62 and still work a part-time job. Long as you're not bringing over a certain amount of money. Absolutely. It's nothing wrong with that. These are definitely options. That's why I say know what you want. Plan, plan, plan. And the plan may even change as time go on because you could sit down right now and you can have a pen and paper, write everything down to the T. And next thing you know, it changes. Just that quick. And as I mentioned, working part-time, just knowing what you want your retirement to look like. Everybody is different. Some people say, you know what? I thought I wanted to retire. I got home. It was boring. I couldn't take it anymore. I was losing my mind. Some people say, I love it. I'm happy. I don't want to go back to work. Some people say, you know what? I want to do a little part-time this. I want to do a little part-time that. I want to go volunteer. Everyone is different. That's why I say you design the life that you want. How do you want your life to look? And how do you want retirement to look for you? You have to make that decision. Think about it. When you have a job, your job dictates how things go for you. You can't vacation when you want to. You can't do things when you want because you got to work a job. You are set at that job between the hours of 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3, 11 to 6, whatever your hours are. And if you work second shift, third shift, or whatever the case may be. When you are in retirement, you at that point design your life. And sometimes when you get that full freedom, you don't know what to do. Kelly, she gonna know what to do. She gonna know what to do. She gonna know what to do. Because sometimes being busy, It's not the answer. Sometimes we got to sit in our own space, sit in our own aura. But I'm going to have things to do. I know I'm going to have things to do. I'm going to have a ton. Even if I'm sitting here on YouTube, I'm going to have things to do. But to kind of put it in a nutshell, what kind of peace do you want in your later years? Do you still want to have that chaotic, getting up to an alarm clock, ripping and running, answering to somebody, manager, boss, whatever that may be? Do you still want that in your later years and dealing with the rigmarole? I know I don't. I don't. And I don't want even to do that to someone else. Retirement planning is just not math. It's like a vision. It's like literally, how do you want your actual life to look? How do you want things to pan out? You sometimes we sit back and we're at these jobs and we're like, you know what? I wish I could just sit home on my porch and drink my coffee, drink my tea, have me whatever I got going on. And then when you finally get there, you're like, oh boy, I kind of miss my coworker, kind of miss that. Them coworkers ain't thinking about you. Life goes on. They're worrying about when they're going to get to retire and be with their grands or be with their loved ones or just doing things that they want to do. Because you sit back and think about it. By the time individuals retire, their grands are going to college. Their grands are going to school. They ain't thinking about granny, auntie. Shoot. No, not at all. So sit back, and I'm doing this as well. Sit back and think about what are you actually trying to make possible for yourself. I know for me, I want peace, I want serene, I want clarity, and I want to be able to do the things that I actually want to do things that actually fulfill me. Doing the heavy lifting up front financially while I do have a job where it can actually help afford the lifestyle that I want to live in the future, in my later years. Nice, simple, and clear. And again, like I always say, you can plan something out, but next thing you know, something happens. You got to go back to the drawing board and write some things out. But always keep in mind what you want at the end: clarity, peace, comfort, flexibility, whatever it is. And just be able to do what you want to do with your own time without answering to someone. And I feel like the best thing to do is to do it earlier than later, because we have more years behind than we do in front. So now, what are the core pieces to solo retirement? We're going to rattle these off. Write them down, get a pen, get a paper. If not, come on back to the video and get the information that you actually need. Going to rattle these off. Emergency fund, retirement savings, investing, health care plan, housing plan, and beneficiaries, and just basic life admin. When I say basic life admin, I mean being able to still pay your bills and maybe have some things on autopilot, auto pay. I like to say autopilot, but auto pay, and have things being taken out of the accounts that they come from, but yet you can go on a monthly basis or have, again, a beneficiary when you get later in the year. You may not want to take kitty certain things that can go through to make sure that you're not being overcharged and you're not overpaying for something, and just making sure everything is running smooth. I know for my mom, she is still able and taking care of her own bills and doing things like that, where I don't have to step in at this point, and I'm going to let her do her thing as long as she possibly can. Because when you do your own thing, as long as you possibly can, it helps with brain function. It helps with brain function. It helps with mobility. All the different things and skills that you don't want to lose by letting somebody else take care of it, you're doing it. So always keep that in mind too as we age. When you're building your plan, you don't have to do something every month. You can sit back and do it every quarter. You could do it once a year, because hey, I got my money going into my accounts where everything is building, growing. I'm sitting here and I'm putting money to the side, I'm saving. So you know what you have going on. You can do maybe a quarterly check-in and see what you got going on, see if everything's kind of like adding up the way you want it to do. Maybe once a year, twice a year, to kind of see if everything's adding up how it's supposed to be. Figure out what works for you. I know for me, I'm going to be doing a quarter. Because if I can see the money adding up on a quarter basis, now I can do projections and I can forecast what my numbers are going to look like and what I'm actually saving and gaining throughout the months. So all of this is understanding your categories and making sure you're making good strategy moves. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not trying to overthink this and make it more than what it is. We're trying to keep things simple as possible. I think sometimes we think we have to have a bunch of spreadsheets, a bunch of notepads, and a bunch of Post-its. Sometimes simple is best. Get you a cute little one notebook, write down what you want. I know for me, I have a black notebook. I used to go and buy all those fancy notebooks from like Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and things like that. Every now and then I'll still go and splurge and buy notebooks. I love stationery. But I went to BJ's and got a 4-pack. A 4-pack of black notebook. I think it was 4 or 5 black notebooks. And I write everything down. Write everything down what I want. I did make some sections in this book. It's all just one. And I just put down what I want. And then I made some lines and I said, hey, this is how we're going to keep track of this. What we got going for January, what we got going on for March, what we got going on for April. And I just want to make sure my money is adding up. As long as it's adding up the way it's supposed to add up, and at the bottom, I see my number, I know I'm good. Keeping things simple. I don't want drawn out spreadsheets. I don't want all these different crazy things. Because if something happens to me, I need my kids to know, Ma got a book somewhere. And I keep everything where they need to know where it is. Just look right here. I wrote nice and neat. Get everything you need. Get everything you need. I'm going to mention it again. Keep everything nice, simple, and consistent. Don't overcomplicate your plan. Focus on the progress. Revisit and adjust as needed. A simple plan that you can stick to is better than a plan that is perfect and you avoid it. So keep it nice and simple. Just be consistent. Keep compounding. Keep putting your money where you need to put it, and save. I know sometimes we want things, we want to treat ourselves. Do it. Do it within reason. I have my birthday coming up. I'm sitting here pushing all this money to the side to make sure I'm going to have a good retirement. But for my birthday, I am going to treat myself really, really good. Really, really good. I'm turning 50. Really, really good. Always know consistency is power. Small steps count, and your future can change based upon what you're doing now. Take small steps. Sometimes baby steps make it happen. Being a single Black woman does not mean that I need a perfect retirement plan. The plan just needs to be clear, more honest, more intentional, and consistent. Because the more peace that you can build, the better your future will be. And I'm sticking by it. I am sticking by it. If you enjoyed this conversation, hype it up, like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And if you know another Black woman over 40 who would love conversations like this, go ahead and share all the things, because we like to have more Black women come over here into our community so we can have these good conversations about investing and retiring and starting over and living the best life that we actually want to live. Again, we control our life, not the government.